Hey everybody, welcome to Drawing Angles. We're going to be using our half circle protractor, and I try and start it off the same way for each angle, so let's get it going here. The first thing that I tell my students to do is to draw themselves a baseline. So I'm going to use my sheet and draw my straight line. They can use the bottom of their protractor or roller to just draw themselves a straight line. So we have a line to start off with. Okay? Then I tell them we're going to choose a side, and we're going to put a point there, and this point's eventually going to turn into our vertex. So there's my point for my vertex. I put my arrow there so I can make it look like a ray here. And now is where I come to the decision and I say, okay, what kind of angle do I want to make? Let's start off with something like, how about a 45-degree angle? So I say, boys and girls, take your protractor and draw me a 45-degree angle. Before we draw anything, we have to remember to ask ourselves, what kind of an angle is this? 45-degree angle is an acute angle. Okay, so in our mind, we know what an acute angle looks like. Okay, here's 90 degrees. It's anything less than that. So I'm looking for an angle that's leaning in like that. That's what I'm looking for. In my mind, that's what I see. Okay? So let's draw our acute angle here. So once again, just like we do when we do measuring, we're going to line up our center point and our baseline right on top of that vertex. It's going to become our vertex. And now I look, and here's that dilemma again. We've got those two tracks. 40, that'd be 45 right there. But then I have that same problem. I've got another 45, 40, 50, 45 is going to be right over here. Now the boys and girls are put to that decision. Which one do I use? Well, if I take the protractor off and we just look at it real quickly, if I draw and I connect the dots way out here, well, that's going to be a wide open obtuse angle. That's not what that looked like in my mind over here. If I draw this way, that looks like an acute angle. That looks like what I had in my mind. That's where the direction I need to be going. So then we're going to take our straight edge, because we don't freehand draw these, we use a straight edge. I get to use my cheat on the smartboard, and I'm going to play a little game of connect the dots. I'll put my arrow on it for my ray, and I'll name my angles. I'll put my 3 points here, and we'll just call this C, A, T. So when I name this, this would be angle C, A, T, and we learned in earlier lessons in our classroom that does matter. The order of the letters does matter when you're doing angles, because that middle letter needs to be the middle letter down here. It needs to be your vertex. Okay? Let's try one more angle. So we still have our baseline down here. This time I'm going to switch it around here. I'm going to take my vertex, I'm going to put it on the other side to show you how we work both sides of the protractor. So there's my point. I'm going to take my protractor and I'm going to line up my center point and my vertex, line up my baseline. I got everything lined up now. And let's say I'm going to tell boys and girls, I'd like you to draw me a 140-degree angle. Now, before we start drawing anything, we talk to ourselves. Acute, obtuse, this is an obtuse angle. So this is an obtuse angle. In my mind, I need to see that. That's 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180. So I'm looking for something that's going to be leaning out. That's what I'm looking for in an obtuse angle. All right. So let's take a look here. 140 degrees. Well, I had two spots. There's 140, I can see it right there. And I have 140 degrees way out over here. Let's get this protractor out of the way and see which one makes more sense to us again. Well, if I connect these dots, that doesn't look like an obtuse angle. That looks like an acute angle. And I know that that can't be right. I must be using the wrong one. If I lean it back out here and connect those dots, that looks like an obtuse angle. That's my correct 140. So once again, I'm going to use my straight edge. And I'll put my arrows on the end, put my points, and we'll name this thing. Let's name this angle MRB. is drawing angles.